Hey everyone, good morning. It's 11:30 in Songdo, South Korea. Thanks for tuning in. This is my podcast. I'm Noah, and this is In the Noah. All right, so this is my first podcast. This is my first podcast ever. I've recorded music for quite some time, and now I'm deciding to dabble in the world of podcasts. I'm gonna try and stop saying as much. This is a learning curve for me. I'm very much inspired by Mark Maron's podcast. He's the one. I mean, there's billions of podcasts out there, and I exaggerate a lot. And I listen to Mark Maron's podcast, and that's what inspired me to do this. And plus the fact I have a lot of time off right now, and what better thing to do to occupy my time than record a podcast in the Noah. We're going to talk about the things I am passionate about. Of course, music, that's up there, film, sports to an extent, games, traveling, Scrabble, ping pong. Yeah, we're going to talk about the things I like and the things I know about. I certainly know a lot about music and film, so those are going to be very big subjects on this podcast. So I make original music. I have 3 albums. They're online, and I found the inspiration and the time to record my 3rd album. And this time, unlike the first 2, which were recorded by my good friend Bill, I recorded this one myself. I left to my own devices. I decided to learn how to use GarageBand. You know, I've had Macs for years, and this GarageBand's just been sitting there, but I've never had any use for it because I have my talented friend Bill, who's a musician and sound engineer. He records my stuff, so I've never had the need to do it, but here I am, alone, so alone. No, I'm not alone. And I felt encouraged to learn just the fundamental things to operate GarageBand, and I had some old songs, some new songs, and I decided to record my 3rd album. It's called The Late Bloomer, and I'll talk more about it after, but first, let's play a song from that. This is the tune. It's called Laughing in Your Sleep. I hope you enjoy it. Here it is, Laughing in Your Sleep. again. And you were laughing 'cause it made no sense. All right, that was Laughing in Your Sleep. It's the third track off The Late Bloomer, my third solo album, which is available at pasco.bandcamp.com. And it's pay what you can. Pay what you can. You can pay whatever you want. You can pay $1 for it. Hey, you know what? Not trying to degrade or devalue the work I put into this, but I've always run with the philosophy that for online music, I'm not too concerned about making money from that. When I put on shows, when I made CDs in the past, I certainly set a price, which I thought was fair given the work I put into it. But when it comes to selling music online, I really just want people to listen to it and hear it. And if they want to pay some money, that's great. I decided at one point that music would not be my main source of income. It's my biggest passion. It's my life source. What does that even mean? But I'm an educator. That's my career. That is what I've chosen for my main source of revenue, and music is my passion. That's how I distinguish those two. Okay, so moving on. Before moving on, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, for listening, for clicking on the link. I mean, that's what you definitely did. This is not radio. You're not driving around listening to podcasts. I mean, maybe in the future, when people are driving around in their cars, they'll just be listening to podcasts only. But until then, we're all in cyberspace here. That's where you're listening to me on your device, which I recorded using GarageBand, and I posted it on a website. That's where you likely found this. So we're online here. We're on the line. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to 2013. 2013. That's when I started taking songwriting seriously. Before that, when I approached music for in terms of writing, I just wanted to write a good song, and this was completely devoid of any honesty or sincerity. That came later. That was like the epiphany I had later. And initially, I just wanted to write a good song with good chords and catchy. And of course, I mean, not to say that you don't want those things, but those later on, I came to understand those come after the fact. I feel like there was a moment when I became an artist, and that's when I approached music in more of an honest manner, when I felt like I had to express myself, like I had to reveal something, when I had to tell a story. That's when I think I went from musician dude to artist. And I can pinpoint the moment when that happened. It was when I wrote a song called Far From the Tree. And this song, it's kind of set the tone for my style moving forward. It is a very reflective song. It's about this song specifically is how I feel in relation to my friends and family. Certainly my family. I love my family. We're very different. We're very different from one another. I mean, we physically were the same. Like my brother and I, we have the exact same voice. You could listen to this podcast and think that my brother Byron is doing it. We have the same voice, a lot of the same mannerisms, but we certainly have our major differences. Byron is a hardworking businessman, and I'm a lazy musician. I'm kidding. No, I've worked a little hard in my life, but Byron's the workhorse, and yeah. I mean, those are just a few things, but and my parents, I love them. But yeah, we're very different. I feel like I'm more of the free spirited, traveling bohemian guy, and my parents love hosting dinners in the suburbs. Hey, nothing wrong with either. In fact, I've come to terms over the years that there's nothing wrong with what I do. And there's definitely some songs I've written about that. And it started off with Far From the Tree. And I had this song, written in 2013, and I never recorded it until now. It comes on the Late Bloomer, which I thought fit quite well with the Late Bloomer concept, and I'll play that song after too. But if there's any theme in this album, is that it's just coming to terms with who you are, what your role is in the world, and being content with the fact that maybe it took time for you to have that revelation, to have that self-appreciation that you're worth it, and what you're doing, what you're contributing to the world is good. It's cool. It's you have a purpose. And this album, I hope this album reinforces that to the listeners. Now, so here I'm gonna play you "Far From the Tree," and this is the last track on the Late Bloomer, which you can find on pasco.bandcamp.com if you wanted to purchase the album. And like I said earlier, don't shower me with money. Send $1 or whatever. Just more importantly, take a listen to the song. So here it is. This is Far From the Tree. Enjoy.
So yeah, that's me. I'm the one that laughs a little too much. The apple that fell far from the tree. Definitely me. Was the one that cannot just stand still. I'm moving around constantly, but I've got the secret to succeed. Oh no, don't dance. I waited out now, just like you. I've got $1 million ideas, getting them done while falling further from the tree. And now maybe it's just me. Feels like everyone around me is just topping up their minds, and they don't see they're going crazy. But let me tell you something true. I got held back from pushing on. I dwelled too much on just sliding on through. Now I've got the secret to succeed. Oh no, don't dance. I waited out now, just like you. I've got $1 million ideas, getting them done while falling further from the tree. We've got to move on forwards, but no, we've gone and moved on backwards. No, we're going back and forth, the entire ride. It's definitely me, the one that laughed way too much, the apple that blew away. But I've got the secret to succeed. Oh no, I don't dance. I waited out now, just like you. I've got $1 million ideas, getting them done. We're falling now. I've got the secret to succeed. Oh no, don't dance. just like you. I've got the $1,000,000 idea. Now let's get it done. We're falling further from the tree.
Okay, that was Far From the Tree, the last tune off my third solo record, The Late Bloomer. All right, welcome back to In the Noah, and we are sponsored by no one. No one sponsors this show. I'm not famous yet. We don't need a sponsor. Ha. Okay, so on this podcast, we are talking about my recent release, my recent music release, The Late Bloomer. I'm very proud of this one. As I was saying earlier, unlike my first two ventures, this is the first time where I recorded it by myself. The first two records, There Goes My Head and Consciousness, were recorded by my good friend Bill. Shout out to Bill Bertram. Certainly my favorite Brazilian and definitely one of my favorite fellas. Bill and his wife Clara live in Toronto, and Bill is he's just great. And Bill is one of those guys in terms of music. He can do a lot of stuff. He sings, he plays guitar, plays the bass. I'm sure he plays drums. I don't think I've ever seen Bill play drums, but I'm sure he does. And now he's in recent years he's gotten sort of behind the scenes, and he's been studying sound. He's studying sound engineering, and like I said, he recorded my first two records. And there's something that goes beyond a skill set. I think you have to have the right personality to record someone, and Bill certainly possesses something that I value when I record. He's just a really relaxed, calm, and collected guy, laid back, and that is very conducive to recording an album. I felt I was prepared when I recorded my first two records, but you need to have the right atmosphere when you record. And when someone's recording you, you might feel a little pressure, you might feel a little nervous, stress, but all that, when I record with Bill, none of that was there. And he would set me up, and we did everything live off the floor. So meaning I recorded and sang at the same time, and we'd be in his really chill basement, and there was like a red light and some Beatles posters in the back, and Bill would just hit the space bar and then just kind of like vanish from the room, and I would record. And I think most of the songs I've recorded with Bill were in one take. And I feel like that was a combination of being prepared, but like I said, also due to Bill's very calm nature, his calm, relaxing essence, and very, very suitable for the recording process. Okay, so back to The Late Bloomer. I'm going to play you the title track, The Late Bloomer. I wrote this song in last year when I was living in Kingston, when I was living in my studio apartment, and I was just playing around with this riff, which you will hear in a moment. And I feel like this is a song that I wrote. It didn't take me a long time to write this one. I feel like a lot of musicians can attest to this. Some songs just sort of pour out, whereas some songs might take you a few days, a few weeks. This song, the music and the lyrics, they poured out of me, and then so I think I wrote this song, and it felt like I wrote this song in a few hours. I was just very compelled, and so this song, The Late Bloomer, like I was saying before in this episode, this song and this album, I wanted to reflect on this concept of the late bloomer, to to just sort of just justify the justify what am I saying here? Here, this is my brain fart moment. Dun, 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 the brain fart moment. Every episode's got to have one. But yeah, the late bloomer, to take ownership, to take pride in what you do, even though it takes some time. And we certainly have the liberty, the privilege in this modern era to take our time. Certainly, 100 years ago, a 33-year-old man would not be in his studio apartment reflecting on life and wanting to know what to do. But certainly we have this luxury. That's the word I'm going for here. It's a luxury that we have in this time period. And of course, in my situation in my life, I've had the good fortune of taking my time to figure out what I want to do. In the last 10 years, I've dabbled in public relations, in guitar instruction, in food delivery, in call centers. Did a lot of stuff, and then it took time for me to really to come to the conclusion that I was meant to be an educator and to make music and to focus on those two things. And so it's been a journey. It's been a journey. Life's a journey. Life's a trip, man. And so this song, I hope you will enjoy. And this song, sums up all of that with another Blaine fart. Blaine fart? Oh, I'm on a roll here. Anyways, I'm just gonna stop talking and play you this song. This is The Late Bloomer. Enjoy.
There I was, half asleep, coasting through the days, hiding in retreat. Yeah. Pushing out these silly tunes. They never came from the heart, never ever felt true. Wait for it. I had to wait for it. I waited, and I'll keep waiting. So there you were looking good, and I had the courage to come up and tell you a joke or two. We drifted on, I didn't sing. We had to make our mistakes to learn a damn thing, and that's okay, yeah, that is okay. You wait for it, 'cause I had to wait for it. I waited, and I'll keep waiting. The late bloomer gets all his worms. The late bloomer soars above the trees. The late bloomer, I'm the late bloomer. keep on waiting, waiting,
All right, that was The Late Bloomer. And that's the second track off the Late Bloomer EP, which I recently released on my website, on the website that it's not my website. It's a hosting site. It's Bandcamp. Have you heard of that? Lots of good music on Bandcamp, including mine, pasco.bandcamp.com, and that's where you can check out my 3 solo records. There's There Goes My Head from 2015, Consciousness from 2017, and The Late Bloomer, which was released just last month, in September 2018. It's almost the end of the year, folks. This year has really rolled by, and so has this episode. So thank you for listening. Thanks for checking out the inaugural Pasco podcast in the Noah. And I think next time we're going to talk about movies. Yeah. So as I said in the beginning of this podcast, this show is about the things that I'm passionate about, the things I know about. Music, film, traveling, games, some sports. What else? Yeah, just stuff, life, philosophy. We'll talk about some deep stuff. Hey, I'm Canadian. All right, so thanks for checking it out in the Noah, and we'll be back. All right, take care.